speaker on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com.
7:06 Team Hotburg Traffic Center time and Jim Talamonte.
Northbound Tri-State traffic's a little heavy early. Plainfield Road to the Hinsdale Oasis, and from the Eisenhower to the Grand Avenue curve, westbound Veterans Memorial. Congested Maple to Ogden. About Eden's 21 minutes. Lake Cook to the Junction. The Kennedy 34 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. 17 from Montrose. 14 on the Express. Outbound 42 minutes to the airport, and westbound 197 at O'Hare. Inbound Eisenhower looking at 44 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 30. Down Stevenson 45 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan 23 minutes, 95 to downtown. I-57 21 minutes, 90 to the Merge. Bishop 425. Southbound Lakeshore Drive is tight. Foster to Lords. Northbound Balboa to Monroe. I'm Jim Talamonte.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Today, cloudy skies giving way to some sun. The high today, 34. It'll be clear tonight, low 25. A sunny day tomorrow, the high 33. Clouds on Wednesday, snow in the afternoon, little or no accumulation, the high 39. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
27 at O'Hare, 28 Lakefront, 22 this morning in Aurora. And your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by CharlesEquipment.com, keeping you powered up no matter what the conditions.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
I think we should all stand and give Colonel Vindman a show of how much we supported him. Stand up and clap for Vindman. Get up there.
What, no love for Sondland?
Oh.
Lieutenant Colonel Jim Carafano, Vice President of the Catherine Shelby Cullum Davis Institute for International Studies at the Heritage Foundation, author of books including Wiki at War and Private Sector Public War, joins us now. Jim, are you standing in salute of Lieutenant Colonel Vindman?
No, we have several military veterans here at the Heritage Foundation. I went to West Point, some of them went to Naval Academy, some of them went to other schools, and we chat, because I don't want to see like I'm just living inside my own head. And it's amazing how, to the person, people feel like his behavior was just inappropriate, that it crossed the line of appropriate civil-military relations. And you are expected to say what you think. That's the way our military works. It's very unique in the world, that you give honest feedback. You tell people exactly what you think. And then once the boss has made a decision, you own that decision and you support the boss. And the only exception to that is if you see something that's illegal or immoral, and then you have two very clear options. You report it on your chain of command and you're done, or you resign. And this person didn't do any of the appropriate things. Essentially, they substituted their own opinion for the President of the United States. They publicly discussed information which rightfully should remain the privilege of the President of the United States in a public thing. They leaked information to other people to try to discredit the President. It was completely inappropriate behavior. It's not a mark of anything that should be respected or admired.
Well, then what about Vindman's twin brother, who was a lawyer at the NS?
They were the same. The people that I talked to in the NSC told me that these guys were rooting around other people's offices looking for damaging information, looking for information that they could leak.
Going through people's stuff and their personal desks?
Yes.
All right, yeah. Well, that's a fireable offense, and you should be, escorted out of the building.
Yeah, which part is? It's fairly clear to me. I don't know why it's so unclear inside the Beltway there. You serve at the pleasure of the President of the United States. What's unclear about that threshold?
That's absolutely. This is there is no right to serve in the White House. You get appointed by the president. There's not even a congressional review of this. You hire the people that you want. You fire the people that you want. It's just saying ambassadors. They have to go through a confirmation process, but they serve at the pleasure of the president. And you can fire them for any reason you want. You can not like their hair, because at the end of the day, who's responsible? Who gets called to the carpet when things go right or wrong? The president of the United States, not those other people.
Well, and
so the president gets to decide who serves him.
Yeah, it's just remarkable to me that they're projecting onto Trump what they're actually doing, which is attempting to dismiss constitutional order. So the president of the United States is not supposed to assert executive privilege during the impeachment proceeding, even though it's his right to do so, because that obstructs Congress. And so there's the Congress putting itself in the position of the executive, telling the executive what to do. That's not separate and co-equal. And now with respect to personnel decisions in his branch of government, he is not supposed to be able to make personnel decisions that any other president would make. So the question is, if it were a president you liked, would you suggest that he shouldn't and couldn't assert his privileges, couldn't make his own personnel decisions? Of course they wouldn't.
Look, Earl Matthews, who is a dedicated, committed supporter of the President of the United States, has worked super hard from this administration since day one. He's a reserve officer, got fired from the NSC for reasons that had nothing to do with the president or any of this other stuff. Earl's a great guy. I throw myself under a bus for him, but that's how the system works. I mean, he didn't get fired. The DOD essentially said, we're pulling him back, which you had the right to do. And that's the other thing, is there was no adverse action taken against any of these people. None of those things are adverse actions. Being moved out of the White House is not an adverse action. It's just being moved. I got moved lots of times. I didn't get a choice. It's just the way it works in the system.
Well,
so
maybe Vindman can catch on as defense minister of Ukraine, since he was offered that gig previously. Let me turn to something else. Democrat debate on Friday night in New Hampshire asked about the decision to greenlight the strike on Soleimani, and all of the leading lights of the left, Biden and Buttigieg and Bernie, said no, they would not have greenlighted that strike.
Well, the one thing that I think's really gotten lost in this whole conversation is somehow we got into this debate about whether there was another attack that was imminent or not. And imminent is not a standard about whether you take out a terrorist or not. If they are a lawful target and they are organizing illegal terrorist activities, which could result in the death of American citizens or destruction of property, it doesn't matter if it's 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 days, or 5 weeks. It's just like we had this argument. The thing they would take videos of ISIS fighters running around behind the battlefield, like getting in a truck or something, and they get blown up by a drone. And they go, "Oh, that's terrible. How do we?" They weren't hurting anybody. That is not the standard. I mean, you cannot. If a soldier doesn't have his finger on the trigger, you can't shoot him. They're a combatant. If they're a combatant, they're always a target. Otherwise, everybody in ISIS and Al Qaeda and in the Iranian government would be a dishwasher.
Speaking of this whole topic of terrorism and combating terrorism the world over, what was your reaction to what the president had to say about taking out Soleimani, taking out al-Baghdadi in his State of the Union address last week?
So, the criticism is this isn't going to solve the problem, and that is true. But it's just like operating on a patient doesn't make the patient live. You got to sew them up and give them medical care and everything else. But taking out the tumor is part of the surgery. Taking these guys out obviously degrades the networks, obviously puts them under enormous pressure every day. They know that they're being hunted. It isn't the be-all and end-all to dealing with transnational terrorism, but it is an important component. And if people say, well, it doesn't make a difference, we've had one 9/11. We have been hunting these guys for 2 decades, and we haven't had another. That is a correlation with causation.
I wanted to get your reaction as well to the budget the president is going to unveil today. The Wall Street Journal reported on it over the weekend. The plan would increase military spending by 0.3%. for the forthcoming fiscal year 2021, while lowers in other areas, but particularly with respect to military spending, reducing foreign aid, higher outlays for defense preparedness and for veterans benefits. I mean, are you generally happy with the spend decisions on the defense side by this administration?
Yeah, well, I've been in Washington for a long time now. I don't get really excited about president's budgets because, politically, politics is the wrong word. From a fiscal responsibility standpoint, it sounds about right of what we need to do, because it's not only about getting our priorities straight, but it's also about getting on a glide path to reducing the overall national debt, which is very important. So, but the reality is what's the chances that Congress will even do a budget, let alone do one that reflects responsible fiscal policy?
I'm going to leave that as a rhetorical question. I wanted to ask one more topic area. This New Way Forward legislation that's been introduced by one of our esteemed congressmen here in Illinois, Chuy Garcia. New Way Forward, which was essentially handle this problem we have of illegal immigration by removing the illegal part of it. That's essentially what the Democrats are proposing. Also, but even more importantly than decriminalizing illegal border crossings, would essentially eliminate automatic deportation orders for crimes of moral turpitude and even some more serious crimes. In addition to ex post facto people who have been deported back into this country if they were deported for a crime that is no longer a deportable crime, if you follow, and I barely do.
Right, yeah. Well, the new way forward is the old way backward. I mean, the reality is illegal immigration in this country has dropped over the last 8 months because we're not doing any of those things, which were all things we kind of used to routinely do, which is essentially, put out an open door. The problem with an open door policy is with open borders is how does it end? I mean, you essentially destroy the notion that the people of a part of the planet get to decide their future, and essentially anybody can go anywhere and do anything. It just defies logic, and I'm thankful that they put it forward, because this is, I think, given Americans I'm nonpartisan. People can vote however they want, but on immigration and border security, they're getting a very stark and clear choice between essentially open borders and enforcing the law, and they get to choose. And I think every time you see something like the New Forward Act, people are doubling down, telling Americans that there is only one way forward. Everybody gets health care. It doesn't matter if they're illegal. Anybody can come here. We don't care about your public safety. Or we can have ordered liberty, and you get to pick. I think it's a public service that they did this.
I agree with that. He is Lieutenant Colonel Jim Carafano, VP of the Catherine Shelby Cullum Davis Institute for International Studies at the Heritage Foundation. Jim, thanks as always for being with us.
All right. Thanks for having me, brother.
Take care.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, Saver. Looking for ways to save on your Medicare Part D copays? We love that at Walgreens. We're a preferred network pharmacy with many plans nationwide, which could mean lower copays for you. Bring your prescriptions to a Walgreens pharmacy and start saving today. Walgreens, trusted since 1901. Walgreens participates as a preferred network pharmacy with United Healthcare, Cigna, and Express Scripts Medicare. Walgreens participates with other plans. See walgreens.com/Medicare for details.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents and Doug.
Limu, when we're not telling people that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need, I've actually been moonlighting as a DJ. What? Check it! Here's the good part! Liberty, 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 liberty. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Actual patient testimonials results may vary.
The varicose veins and spider veins are hard to look at.
I wanted to hide my legs because they were all blue and spidery.
They feel like you're dragging bricks around.
At Vein Clinics of America, we want you to know you don't have to live with varicose